Skinwalkers in rural Michigan. I recently purchased a 10,000 lumen flashlight to illuminate the surrounding woods as I walk my dog in the evening. I have been hearing strange noises at night, and I figured it would be nice to see everything that boxes me in as I walk Max, my dog. But boy, was I wrong. I should have been afraid of what can't be seen outside the veils of my iPhone flashlight. What was to be exhumed by my lumen flashlight terrified me to my core. This happened a week or so ago, November 2nd, 2022, Harrison, Michigan. The evenings were approaching abruptly now. It was only 8:30 when I decided to take my golden retriever on one last shit walk before I got settled in for the night. At this time, in rural Michigan at least, it's pitch black. I cursed underneath my breath as I opened the door and peered out. Fuck. Chilly and dark. God, why haven't I moved south yet? Max was timid this evening, which was so unlike him. Very strange. The darkness emanating from outside my house poured in like a disease. It was void of any color. Upset about not replacing my porch light, I pulled out my new Amazon special. This week, it was a 10,000 lumen flashlight. Feeling its expensive metallic body in my hands felt exonerating, and the excitement to use it overthrew any bad vibes Max was giving. He whimpered as soon as the door opened. He then put his tail between his legs and shivered. I scoffed at his weak tendencies here. This was so unlike him. I turned this ungodly bright flashlight on and showed it forward. For fuck's sake, look, Max. Nothing to be afraid of you. I was cut off. My mouth gaped at what was in front of me. Shown in the powerful beam of the flashlight was a contorted, lanky humanoid figure. It slumped down from a standing position and got on all fours like a person miming a frog. Then it jerked its head up and sniffed the air animalistically. It turned its head and bored its stare right into my eyes. Then it darted into a bush on the edge of the woods that surround my entire house. I heard leaves crackle and watched the skin-colored creature dissipate into them. I focused the beam of my light directly onto the bush. It was incredibly bright, and the bush appeared like high definition from the immense light, especially in contrast to the oily blackness that surrounded me. The bush shaked ominously, like a predator was inside, shifting around. A familiar feminine voice came from that bush.
Please help me. Oh God, oh please God, help me.
And the leaves rustled again. Max whimpered in terror and got between my legs. I grabbed the baseball bat that I kept beside the front door for just such occasions and held it beside my head in a ready-to-whoop gesture. The other hand on my flashlight, I shakily started towards the bush from my door. Max bolted inside, leaving me completely alone.
Help me, please.
The voice cooed. The soft feminine call of the voice crackled a little this time. Yeah, almost as if something was masquerading as a female and luring me in. I was about 6 feet away by now. I can feel the blood pulsating in my temples. Goosebumps ran down my body.
Help me.
An elongated ashy white arm flung towards me at ankle height. I instinctively stomped down on it. I heard cracking and sloshing from underneath my shoe. I stepped directly onto its wrist. I heard a shriek from inside the depths of the bush, and the hand sprung up like a trap being set off. The strength possessed by this creature was unreal. It slung me down to the ground and began to reel me into the bush where it resided. I screamed, smacked the arm with the bat as hard as I could, and then lost control of the bat. It fell next to me as I was dragged closer to the bush. Now my feet were inside the leafy abyss. The voice turned into my mother's voice. The clawed hands grasped onto me tightly with tremendous strength, and the nails dug into my skin through my pants.
Help me, Nathaniel. Your mother needs help. I can't walk.
I shined my light into the bush. What I saw still makes me tremble. It was my dead mother's face, but atop an ashy, white-skinned humanoid skeleton with backward joints. The arms bent unnaturally opposed to how they should. The legs were bent like a frog ready to pounce. The eyes were milky white, but were extremely intelligent, and they gazed into my consciousness. With all my force, I horse-kicked my deceased mother's face and heard a massive crunch as my heel connected with his macerated nose. A profane yelp of pain blasted into the darkness of this BFE. The grip on my leg loosened just enough from the blow for me to break free. I shot right up, turned to the door. I dropped my flashlight in this madness and I couldn't give a shit. It could keep it for all I fucking cared. I bolted towards the door, and as I reached the halfway point, I was illuminated by a blinding bright light from behind. Almost like a spotlight beamed right onto me. My fucking God, that thing had my flashlight and was pointing it directly at me.
Help, Nathaniel. Help me, son.
The light started to bob up and down. Whatever was holding it was lurking closer and closer to me, and was gaining on me much faster than I was to the door. So much for not being able to walk. I ended up winning the foot race miraculously. I jumped inside my door and slammed it behind me. I heard a loud thump into the door immediately following its closure. My mother's late voice came again, beckoning me.
Son, you know your mother has taught you better than this. Let me in. Please, please, son.
The light shone through the window at me, blinding me. Seeing spots and now disoriented, I fumbled myself up and managed to lock the door. Max was at the furthest point possible from the door, glaring at the door, trembling in fear. 3 solid knocks from the top of the door frame. Then the light was gone and I heard a metallic clunk. The thing must have dropped the flashlight on its retreat, the light now gleaming off of a huge tree. I watched a tall, skinny humanoid creature with long, contorted ligaments jerkily running towards the tree. His legs bent opposite of how our legs do, and same with the arms. Then it bent down in the same erratic way that it moved, and got onto all fours as it approached the tree. It paused a second. His head swiftly snapped to my face. Its now black and sunken eyes stared into my soul. I froze in terror as it climbed that tree, with its eyes glaring directly at me, mind you, like a squirrel, scurrying right up it, never leaving contact with my eyes. The light undoubtedly should be blinding its vision, but the sense of intelligence of his knowing my existence was uncanny. Light didn't hurt it. As it ascended, it smiled at me, a predatory grin. As I moved my head to try to see the creature, I watched the tree leaves rustle and saw no more of it. Yet, I locked the doors that night and cleaned up Max's accident from not going out. At night, I was asleep. I was awoken by my mother's soft voice from right outside the bedroom window.
Let me in, Nathaniel. Let me in.
Then directly following this motherly imitation came a 10,000 lumen flashlight beamed into my face. I heard the window slowly open, but I was blinded by the light.
This is your buddy Darkness, and remember, darkness is only a switch away.